Hey, it's Lars Hauwert here and welcome to this video. So most e-com founders copy tactics. They copy what competitors are doing. They build their funnel based on what they see a guy do on YouTube or on Twitter. And they assume because it worked for somebody else or somebody else said that it worked for them, that it's going to work for them as well. But this is where things go wrong. So if you don't know who I am yet, I'm Lars. I've grown my own e-com store to around $9 million in sales called Nancy Home Store. And now I'm helping e-com store founders to do essentially the same thing. So today I'm going to be talking about a mental model called first principles thinking, which is used by many successful people like Elon Musk, Charlie Munger, etc. And it's pretty simple. The thing is that you break down a problem to its fundamental truth, and from that truth you build the solution. So instead of basing your solution on what other people are saying, you go back to the core problem and to the core truth about that problem. So let's say your goal is to increase the conversion rate of your product page. Then most e-com founders will go to competitors' product pages and they will see a bunch of fancy things like timers, animations, like fancy looking stuff basically, and they think if they apply these same elements to their store, it's going to work the same way. And to a degree, this does work. If you look at successful competitors, you can definitely get amazing inspiration from that. But to completely build your store, it's always good to reason from first principles instead. So here's how a first principles approach would look. So what would need to be true in order for a person to buy from this product page? So first of all, it must solve a real problem for them. Then secondly, the visitor must quickly understand your offer or they'll just leave, right? Thirdly, they need to trust you, or they can have a need and you can solve that need for them and they can understand the offer quickly, but if they don't trust you, they're never going to buy from you, right? And then it also must be easy for them to buy. It must have the right payment methods. It must not be crazy complicated. So this is just an example of how I would approach product page for an e-com store, how I could grow and increase the conversion rate of this product page. So that's your foundation, and then from there you can build on that. So you can start to structure a product page in a way that it basically covers those 4 pillars. Now maybe you come up with different pillars and you think those are the fundamental truths, and if you apply it and it works, then your thesis was correct, right? So this is a way better approach than the approach of just looking at what a competitor is doing, looking at what a famous guy on YouTube is saying, and applying that same stuff. Because even if it does work, let's say you implement it and it works, then how are you ever going to replicate that? Because tactics are just tactics and they will die out. Because if somebody is saying that you should do this, then you're definitely not the only one that's applying this tactic, right? So then another 100 people have also applied the same strategies. Some are in the same niche as you, and it starts to get less and less effective over time. So then when that happens, how are you ever going to solve your business then? Because you don't know the underlying principles, right? So now you might be wondering and asking yourself, how do I find these fundamental truths? And the answer is you should have a lot of knowledge about a lot of different things. It's probably not the answer you want to hear, but the thing is, the person who is right about something the most amount of times is going to win in business. So you should become not necessarily a complete expert, but you should become knowledgeable about the different areas of life. So, for example, psychology is a really big one when it comes to e-commerce and marketing. So learn about psychology and the underlying principles of how you can make a person do something that you want. So I recommend to read The Great Mental Models. It's a 3-part book series where it goes over all the mental models in a human brain, which goes over a lot of different areas as well. Also psychology is covered in there. So, and then to take it a step further, for example, for psychology, you can go to absolute experts on that specific subject, like Sigmund Freud, and read more about psychology in those books and just become even more knowledgeable about it. But you should have a baseline knowledge on all these different areas if you want to win long term in the e-commerce game. And this is not going to be done in a week or a couple weeks. Like, this is going to take months and months of just reading books. Just sit down and read a book. So if you're stuck right now in your e-com business, stop adding features to your website. Stop checking the next video on YouTube, the next shiny object. Stop looking for tactics and start looking for fundamental truths, which are like the underlying principles of your whole business. If you don't know where your business is based on and you're just implementing features because you heard that works well, you're dead in the water, because like I said, even if it works now, it's not going to work in a year from now. So then you're still doomed. Even if you make a lot of money with it today, it's not a sustainable strategy. So I highly recommend you to start reasoning from first principles. Even if something works, really think about why this works. Look at competitors, and if you are sure that they work, like, check why it's working. What are the different psychological triggers that they put in place that work well, and how can you make similar triggers like that? And that's how real growth happens, by not copying, but by thinking and by innovating. So I hope that all made sense. If you have any questions, just leave a comment below. I read all the comments myself. And there's also a link in the description, by the way, that shows a bit about how we do what we do for our clients. I don't care if you click it or not. I just hope you got a ton of value out of this video and you start to apply first principles to your life. So thank you so much for your attention, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.